That is a Spitfire. Closer view. Hello and welcome to another one of my films. Today I am on Churchill's front line. No, sorry, I'm in Kent. But no joke, I've seen two Spitfires and I don't know if they've gone and shot down something German, but look at that over there. What's going on? But anyway, I'm off to the town of Rochester. So I'm lucky to be staying with friends. Never been down here before, so I'm heading from Paddock Wood. So okay, we've arrived at Strood station, but we're going to cross to Rochester. So here I am at Rochester. Now, this is the River Medway, and historically the Romans really were the first people to take a real interest in this area. It was a part of what they call Watling Street, which was their way of transporting goods and troops around the country. And this was considered a great place to cross the River Medway, which, as you can see right here, is very tidal. So it's an area where, subsequent to that, there's links to everything from Magna Carta to various royals. But I'm really excited about visiting because I've never been here before. This is a magnificent bridge, but when the Victorians were making this, they actually discovered the old Roman foundations underneath this, so that's how they got an idea as to how old it was. What a view. Also really glad we came on the train. There's ginormous traffic jams, just a suggestion. So I'm just heading now up towards Rochester High Street. Here we go, opening out onto the High Street. So, there's the bridge. This is High Street, but this is what was Watling Street, the famous Roman road. So as that plaque states, there's a lot of an association with Charles Dickens here, so in a lot of his books, various buildings are described. So that was the first one. It's a really bustling high street, this. It's fantastic. Loads of different types of shops, lots of places to eat. Just wonderful. You can tell sort of how old some of these buildings are. They've kind of got their own force of gravity. It's so much better when they shut the streets, isn't it? No cars. Fantastic town crier. What's really nice to see is there's loads of independents here. This is a fascinating little building, but in a nutshell, the idea of this was that if 6 people in an evening turned up and they weren't wealthy, they would be given a pint of beer, a hunk of meat and some bread, and then they were seen on the way the next day. But it was sort of like a rest home for those without a lot, and it's still going now in various guises, because they basically own a lot of land which a huge retail park is built on. So let's go and have a look. You could only stay one night, mind, but you know, just very simple, practical kindness. What a lovely little building. So Rochester's full of all these sorts of amazing places. There is Richard Watts, just the back of the building. Absolutely lovely. Right, so here is another Dickens reference. So in 1854, he visited this charity and actually subsequently wrote The Seven Poor Travellers. So there are a lot of reference points in Rochester to Dickens, and this is another. Looks like there's enough room for 6 here. I think the house was 16th century, this, so wow, these walls could talk. There's a guest book here as well. 770,000 people supposedly have stayed here. But The next morning though, they were given 4p and sent on their way, and actually the charity still works now because it actually has land under Chatham, which isn't far away, and that land basically has commercial premises on. So they still actually operate 6 almshouses in this area. So it is a legacy that's still going. So this is Rochester Cathedral. Really the association with this spot starts in 604. It was built on Anglo-Saxon foundations. Unfortunately there's a service on today, private service, so we can't go in. But the main cathedral dates from the late 11th century, but it looks fantastic. Right, so Rochester Castle. In 1077, William the Conqueror decided that this whole area strategically needed strengthening. He employed a chap called Gundulf, who was actually the man who designed the White Tower at the Tower of London. So hence why you can see the similarities. In 1215, this was actually besieged by King John, who had backed out of the Magna Carta, and there were barons in the area who basically holed up in here for over 2 months before they were finally removed. So again, there's a heck of a lot of history in this area to do with Magna Carta, King John, etc. But it's a magnificent building and I can't wait to go in. Right, excuse the sound of the ice cream rack, and as I've said, I'm trying to point out sometimes when you do these things, it's not quite what it seems. Right, but yeah, again, another Dickens reference, and as you can see, he would have preferred to lie in the small graveyard under Rochester Castle wall. He loved this place, Charles Dickens. Right, so Rochester Castle, let's go and have a look. As you can see from this angle, the castle was really strategically placed very, very well. Right, let's see if we can beat King John. Got 2 months to beat. If you just pause on this, just gives you a great idea as to this castle as it was when it was kind of alive. They made these things to last, didn't they? Good grief. Wow. That's very spectacular. If some of you have seen my Ely Cathedral film, you will know that actually this is quite luxurious. So we're going up. Right, we're just on the first floor. Oh, look at this for a proper model. Wow. The Normans did have one very powerful idea, the idea of subjugation of their people. And when you imagine what these must have been like, you know, over 1,000 years ago, it must have been absolutely intimidating. This, by the way, is my friend Nick. We have an amazing bond. He was guitarist in my first band, and you can never beat your first guitarist. So we're just looking out now onto the Great Hall. Just look at that light at the moment. We've got a brilliant day. Wow. Really comes alive when, you know, we've got some really good signs up here and pictures and descriptions. Suddenly becomes a place where people lived. Now, as with a lot of these buildings, the interiors of the walls actually have all sorts of different stuff in. But as you can see here, it's seashells. Still standing though. Right, into the heart of darkness. I don't know where this is going to go. Some medieval knight comes around the corner, screaming at me. You'll hear me scream too. It is absolutely brilliant, this. Wow. Again, that sort of Romanesque arch, which I have seen so much of coming down the east coast. You can also see there where the wooden struts would have been for the roof. Like all good bands, we've just split up. It's okay, we're grown adults, but this is such good fun. Right, over on the opposite wall there, you'll sort of see half an arch, but that was basically when King John used the fat of 40 pigs, good grief, to set a fire to undermine the wall so they could actually break into the castle. Whoa. It's getting breezy, getting near the top. Let's have a look down here. Let's have a look down there. Right, we're going for the top. Right, I might have to turn the sound down in a minute as I'm just going out on the main battlements. Wow, Bob, we got to the top. What do you think of it?
Oh, magnificent! One of the finest historical sites in all of Kent.
This is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Right, I'm just going to have a look out over to the Medway now. Oh my gosh, check that out for a view. Wow, that is spectacular. Right over there, we're looking towards Chatham Docks. That's been so instrumental in Britain's maritime power over the centuries. Well, thank you very much for coming with me to Rochester. It's a fantastic place with so much history. I really enjoyed the high street, actually, just seeing that bustle and all the great independent shops, and the castle, well, icing on the cake. So thanks very much for watching.